Morrie, you and I are doing something that doesn't seem to be much in favor in this country. We're not only talking about death, we're laughing.
That's right.
Right? We're making jokes about it.
Absolutely.
Being a little bit irreverent about it.
Absolutely.
Although there are times when clearly...
I am very sad about it.
Very sad.
Yes.
You clearly feel that we should talk about it more.
More and more and more. For me, it's one of the most important things. If you hide it, it generates inside you. You suffer with it.
Learn how to die and you will learn how to live. This was the final lesson of Morrie Schwartz. He was a professor at Brandeis University in Massachusetts, and he was dying from ALS in 1995. He became well known when he was interviewed by Ted Koppel, an American broadcast journalist, live on TV. A former student of his, Mitch Albom, saw him on TV and went to visit him. They ended up seeing each other every Tuesday until he died, and in the book Tuesdays with Morrie, Mitch recounts the time they spent together. They spoke about the things that Morrie reflected on as he died: love, happiness, relationships, money, family, and death. My name is Tintin, and in this video we will be going over the 5 main lessons that Morrie teaches us in the book Tuesdays with Morrie. Lesson 1, learn how to die and you will learn how to live. Morrie realizes as he's dying that we spend far too much time thinking about the things that don't really matter to us. And in his final days, because he knows he's going to die, he's forced to reconsider the things that are most important to him. In this way, having to learn how to die, having to learn to accept his death, he's forced to learn how to live and to spend more of his time doing things that he cares more about. We're all going to die, but Morrie knows that he's going to die very, very soon. And this deadline, this inevitability, forces him to think about the things that he wants to do in his final days. And he realizes that that process of having to accept his death is actually teaching him to live better. Someone I like called Stephen Bartlett calls this deathbed thinking, which is where you imagine you're lying on your deathbed and what are the things you really care about, what are the things you're going to remember, and what are the things you're going to wish you've done more of or less of. If I was on my deathbed, I think the things that I'd be thinking about were all the people and relationships that I had in my life, and then also hoping that there would be nothing really that I regretted or nothing that I wanted to do that I didn't do, which is a big reason why I'm doing YouTube, because I wanted to do it. And I think the only reason that was stopping me is a sort of narrative in my head. You don't want to imagine you're going to die tomorrow, because if we were all going to die tomorrow, I wouldn't be here making this video and you wouldn't be here watching it. We'd be out spending time probably with the people we cared about and doing things that we like doing. But it is important to consider, in the grand scheme of your life, what are the things that matter and what are the things that you care about. Lesson 2, relationships are the most important thing. Morrie tells Mitch, the author of the book, the most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and to let it come in. I really like this sentiment for 2 reasons. The first is the emphasis on learning. Lots of us don't or aren't very comfortable with giving out love or letting it come in, whatever that might mean to you. In lots of societies, it's not very common to wear your heart on your sleeve and to tell people who you love, what you love about them, and just that you love them. We can all get better at doing these things. And it's not just like, love is the answer and love is what makes the world go round. It's just like relationships are what actually fulfill us most of the time. There's lots of research to support that relationships are the things that most likely to make you happy. So we should give more to them and invest in them more, and also let love fulfill us. And that's the second reason. We often don't trust the influence that we have on people and how much we matter to people. We get lonely or depressed, forgetting how much people really care about us. One of the ways, Morrie says, to make relationships a bigger part of your life is to devote yourself to loving yourself, devote yourself to your community, and devote yourself to finding a meaning and a purpose. I really like this as well because it focuses on a small area. We get really distracted by having a massive impact on the world and thinking, how can we change the world? But really, just start small. Start on being happy with who you are, having an impact on the people around you, and then the community around you. This could be just saying nice things to the people around you, or it could be doing small acts of kindness for your community, whatever that might be. You don't have to overthink your contribution to the world. Morrie teaches us that relationships are the things that make us most happy, so we should invest in those more. Lesson 3, perspective is everything. Morrie says, it's horrible to watch my body wilt away, but it is also wonderful because of all the time I get to say goodbye. Not everyone is so lucky. This is really important because Morrie feels lucky. He cannot move his arms, he cannot move his legs, he even has to have someone wipe his bum. yet he feels lucky. And this is because he sees the world in a different way to how you would imagine he sees it. Life is never straightforward and we all have problems, but how you see your life is a choice. There's this happiness equation that Mo Gowda talks about, which is that your happiness is greater than or equal to the events of your life minus your expectation of how they will turn out. If the events of your life are in line with your expectations, i.e. having very low expectations or just accepting the reality, like Morrie knows that he's not going to get better and he knows he's not going to suddenly be able to move his arms, then actually he's able to just see things for what they are and not get distracted by the tension of wanting things to be different from what they are. He's even able to feel lucky because he knows that not everyone actually gets time to say goodbye to the people they love. Sometimes people die too soon or too quickly, and actually he's been given months to say bye to everyone that he loves. And that is quite unique, and he's chosen to see his life like that. Perspective really is a choice, and it is fundamental to how we see our life. Lesson 4. Giving makes Morrie feel like he is living. Mitch, the author, shortens this just to giving is living, which is a really nice little mantra that you can carry around in your head. And we know that giving makes us feel good. Giving your time, your energy, your love, your support, and your money makes you feel good, which is why people do it. And the opposite, taking, doesn't feel very good. Taking people's time, taking people's energy, taking people's happiness, it doesn't make you feel good. Morrie, in his final days, when he is suffering most and knowing he's going to die, actually likes to give more than he ever has because he knows that it makes him feel alive. This is a really important thing, doing more of the things that make us feel good and less of the things that make us feel bad. We often don't consider this enough and aren't deliberate about it enough. Morrie knows that giving makes him feel good, so he's going to do more of that thing. So I really like this little mantra, giving is living, and it's something that since I read the book has kind of stayed with me, and whenever I think about having the opportunity to give something, I will try and do it because I know that it will just sort of make me feel a bit better. Like Joey in Friends says, there is no such thing as a selfish act, but it doesn't really matter because it's a win-win. Both people are winning. If you give people your money or your time, you are helping them and they're helping you. Lesson 5, embrace your emotions. When talking about pain and grief and fear, Morrie says, by throwing yourself into these emotions, by allowing yourself to dive in all the way, over your head even, you experience them fully and completely. You know what pain is, you know what love is, you know what grief is, and only then can you say, all right, I've experienced that emotion, I recognize that emotion, now I need to detach from that emotion for a moment. So what he's saying is that understanding your emotions and experiencing them fully allows you to understand them, and that way you can actually accept them more and not be scared of them. So when you're feeling anxiety or when you're feeling fear or sadness, actually just accepting it, feeling it, listening to it, and then saying, okay, I know what that is. It's just fear. It's just sadness. I can actually detach from that. I don't need to let it control me. The most interesting point when Morrie talks about this is when he feels he's about to die. So he has a coughing fit and he can feel the sort of phlegm in his throat and he's struggling to breathe and he feels he may be about to die and he can feel the fear arise in him, but he takes a step back, he recognizes it as fear, he detaches himself from it and he tries to just let death come upon him, which is an incredible thing to do. It's not something that I think we'll all be capable of, or even, you know, at any stage with any emotion be capable of doing. But Morrie is trying to tell us that embrace your emotions, understand them, and that way actually you can experience them better and not let them control you. Some final things that Morrie talks about in the book is that we all know we're going to die, but none of us believe it. And that first point about learning how to die allows you to learn how to live is kind of dependent on the fact that you actually have to accept that you're going to die. And it's not very fun to accept that. I really don't like thinking about it or considering it. But if you do, and you know, accept it as a truth, because it is, it does allow you to just seek the things in life that mean more to you, and that will make you happier. So you can actually spend more time whilst you're alive being happier, and that's a nice idea, I think. The other point that Morrie makes is about money, and Morrie's not a particularly rich man. I think he's comfortable in his own home, but as he's dying, he knows that money and no material possession is going to make him feel the things he wants to feel or cure him from his disease in his final days. All he wants is just the people he cares about and the people he loves to be around him, and for him to be able to have conversations with them and to say goodbye. And he knows that is the only thing that will give him the feeling that he wants. So Morrie talks about being honest with yourself and making a distinction between what you need and what you want. So we need the relationships that in our life. We need people around us. That is fundamental for a human. And then we also need a reasonable amount of money to get by and to live. But what we want is probably too much money. So just being honest with yourself about those things. One final thing that is connected to accepting death is accepting aging. Aging is something that I hate. And the fact that I get older every year is something that is quite difficult to accept. But actually, once you accept it, because it will happen, I think Morrie says that it becomes a lot easier to enjoy aging and to know that actually with age comes experience and learning and more knowledge, and that way you can live your life better and enjoy your life more. So aging can actually help you with those things, and if you fight aging, you're just going to be unhappy because it's going to happen anyway. So that's something I think I can work on as well. I really recommend reading the book and watching the Ted Koppel interview, or at least parts of it. I'll link it down in the description. If you're interested in this kind of thing, I made a video about how to figure out what to do with your life, which might help some of you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you in the next one.